Okay, Ryan, I'm going to do a few videos kind of taking you in a direction of learning bar chords, but also it will be kind of a place to learn some other things too. There's a system called the caged system, C-A-G-E-D, that you can look up, and I think I will kind of play off of that. I have kind of used it a little bit, but it just means you're going to learn different chords, shapes that we already know, but we're going to use those to make bar chords in different places on the neck. And they use the acronym CAGED to stand for C, which is one pattern. If we know the C open chord, which we do, it's this. But if we make it with other fingers aside from the index finger, which is a little stretch here, but then we do it like this. But this gives us then the ability to slide up and bar. And so this becomes one of the patterns of the cage system to learn a particular type of bar chord. So this is a C. If I move the same pattern, the spacing, I know it's kind of hard to see, but you know what a C chord is. That's all it is. It's just it's making it without the index finger. So if I slide up to the 3rd fret and then put this on the 2nd fret, that's a D chord. That's a E flat. That's an E, F, etc. Now that's kind of a hard way to make it, but it does teach you the box and that there are patterns that repeat over and over again across the neck. So the second one from C would be A, caged, right? C, A. So we know an A chord is these 3 fingers jammed in on the 2nd fret on the D, G, and B strings. And again, I'm making it not traditional way, but I'm going to use every finger except my index finger. And that gives me the ability to slide up and bar. Now this is an awkward way to bar, so we usually use another finger to bar. Instead of jamming 3 fingers here, we bar. Now I'm not going to play this bottom E string when I do this, I'm just playing the middle 4 strings. But that gives us another bar chord pattern. That's an A, that's a B, that's a C, that's a D. So you notice some of these chords overlap. When I played a C, well this is a C as well. And that's how guitar is. You can play chords in different ways and in different patterns, and it gives you a variety to choose from depending on what makes sense for the context or the song that you're in. So that's C. Here's the C pattern. D, D flat, D or E, F, and then A, B, C, D, and then so we have C, A, and now the G. But I'm going to jump forward to the E because that's where we started. You already know this. This is when I showed you this is the first pattern. Make an E chord and do it with every finger except the index finger. And then we can slide. There we have an F. That's a G. That's an A. So we know this bar chord pattern. And the second pattern I showed you was the one we just learned within the cage system, which is the A. But we know those 2 patterns, and I did a video on it or 2, so go back and review those if you're having problems with it. But I just wanted to kind of give you that there's other patterns as well. The E and then the D, which is here's a D chord, is the last pattern you learn in the cage system. Again, we're making a D chord without the index finger, and I'm going to bar. Now this is just 4 fingers. So that's an E chord, F, F sharp, G. So you may wonder, well, how do I know what letter name it is? I think I told you that if we're in this pattern, which is the E in caged, what we already learned it was the first bar chord pattern we learned. It is the low E string that defines the letter name of the chord. So knowing this is an E, that's really not a bar chord, but it's our foundational pattern. That's an E. If that's an E, this is an F note, so this is an F chord. That's a G note, so that's a G chord. Now I immediately went from there and jumped off into different types of chord. Right now I've just showed you major chords and how to make them in different patterns and in different places on the neck using the bar patterns. But if we stick with one pattern like this first one we learned, which is also the E pattern of the cage system, let's go up to the 3rd fret, and that's a G, but this is a G major. If I take off the middle finger, I have a G minor chord. Again, putting it on, taking it off, there's a G minor. And I did get into, in the last 2 videos, some theory, and that may be confusing. I'd like to hear back from you how you're doing with that. But that shows you, I got ants all over the place. That shows you not just, oh, here you put your fingers here for this chord, but it shows you why, based on music theory and the system of whole steps, half steps, and all of that. And all of that is good to know, so I would review it and review it until it starts to make sense. And there's other places you can get resources online for that too, that I would check out. So far, really everything I've showed you except for some of the cage stuff is a review so far. But you did say you're having problems with bar chords. So that's a major in this pattern. This is the note that defines the letter name. So if I'm on the G, this is a G major. If I go up to here, this is an A. I don't know if you remember how we tuned the guitar. 5th fret is the same note as the next string, which is an A string. So that's one way I know this is an A. But you should also just memorize the first 5, the notes of the first 5 frets of the fretboard, because that will help you. But anyways, I came up here for an A major. If I take the middle finger off, it's an A minor. If I take the middle finger and the little finger off, that's an A minor 7th chord. If I go back to a major chord and I pull off just the pinky, I leave a hole in the chord, so to speak, that's an A 7th chord. So this is a 7th bar pattern. It's an A7 because I'm on the 5th fret. If it's down here, that's a G7. Alright, so I hope this makes sense. I'm chopping these videos up into little pieces, so I'm going to stop and then we'll continue with another video.